Hello, welcome to Closed Letter Analysis. Today we talked about South China Sea dispute. The dispute make huge news in international journals and media coverage. The South China Sea is not just another stretch of blue water on the map. It is one of the most contested and strategically important regions in the world. Beneath its calm wave lies deep layer of history, culture, politics and immense economic value. Today, the dispute over this sea has become a symbol of modern geopolitics, where ambition, fear, and national pride collides. To truly understand why nations fight over it, we need to dive into its past, explore its resource, and uncover how the dispute could shape the future of global order. Now we talk about historical background of South China Sea. The roots of South China Sea conflict go back centuries. Chinese records from as early as the Han Dynasty, 2nd century BC, mention buoys and fishing expeditions in these waters. Over time, Chinese dynasties drew maps with vague marking of the island and reefs. By the 20th century, China published its now famous 9-dash line, claiming almost 90% of sea. But China is not the only player of this game. Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan also claim parts of this sea. Each of them has historical narratives, colonial treaties, and maps to support their case. After World War II, the competition intensified as newly independent nations began asserting sovereignty. What was once a losing, contested maritime zone suddenly became a battleground of national identities and territorial rights. Now we talk about geographical and strategic importance. The South China Sea stretches across 3.5 million square kilometers. It concretes the Pacific and Indian Ocean and is bordered by some of the world's fastest growing economies. The region is dotted with tiny landforms, the Separately Island, Parcel Island, the Natuna waters, some are no more than rocks. At centuries spent billions to build runaway and ports and even artificial island on them. Why? The question arises. Because in international law, the where control the land gets control over the surrounding waters. This is not just about pride. The South China Sea is a maritime highway. Around 3 to 5 trillion dollar worth of global trade passes through it every year. Oil tankers, cargo ships, commercial vessels make it one of the busiest sea lane of the earth. Control over this route means control over the flow of global commerce. Now we talk about natural resources. Beneath the seabed lies an untapped treasure, oil and natural gas reserve. The US Energy Information Administration estimates there could be 11 billion barrels of oil and 190 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. Add to that the rich fisheries which millions depend on for food and livelihood, and you see why every nation want a piece of this pie. Chinese expanding claims. China bases its claim on the 9-dash line, an old cartographic line that stretches deep into the exclusive economic zones of the other nations. Since the 2010, China has accelerated its effort. It built artificially island, installed military bases, radar system, and even runways long enough for fighter jets. For satellite image, the transformation is stunning. Reefs once underwater have been turned into courts. China argue that historically these islands were theirs, but international law specify the United Nations Conservation on the Law of Sea, UNCLOS, does not recognize historical claims. In 2016, the Permanent Court of Arbitration in the Hague ruled against China, declaring its claim invalid. China rejected the ruling outright, call it a piece of waste paper. Other nations' perspective. What is about South China Sea? Vietnam. Vietnam claims the partial and separately Iceland citing historical ties. It has had deadly clash with China in the past, including 1974 and 1988 confrontations. The Philippines brought the legal case to the Hague and won, but struggles to enforce the ruling. Tensions flare up whenever Chinese Coast Guard vessel block Filipino fishermen. Malaysia and Brunei claims smaller parts of the sea, focusing mainly on economic zones rich in resources. Taiwan, through often sidelined, also maintains claim identical to the Chinese nine-dash line, since both share the same historical maps. Now we talk about global impacts on trade and economy. The South China Sea is a main vein of global trade. One third of global shipping passes through it, including vital energy supplies to Japan, South Korea, and even China itself. Any blockade or military conflicts here would be skyrocket oil prices, disrupt supply chains, and shake global markets. Think about it. A container ship leaving a Europe for a Japan must pass through a Malacca Strait and then the South China Sea. If this route is threatened, companies will force higher costs, delay, and uncertainty. The sea is not just a regional issue, it's a global lifeline. Now we talk about geopolitical dimensions. This dispute is no longer about small islands. It's about the balance of the power in South Asia. The United States, America does not claim any territory but insisted on freedom of navigation. US warships regularly patrol the sea to challenge Chinese dominance. Washington also bake allies like the Philippines through defense arguments. Japan and India and Australia, these countries along with US, form the Quad Alliance, promoting a free open Indo-Pacific to control balance China. The ASEAN countries. While many are directly involved, ASEAN as a bloc struggle to make united stand, fearing Chinese economic inflation. The South China Sea has thus become a threat of great powers competition. It is not just about fish and oil, it's about whether China will dominate Asia or whether a multipolar balance can be maintained. Now we talk about international relations and diplomacy. What is effect? The disputes test the limits of international law. The UNCLOS ruling against China highlighted how powerful nations can simply ignore legal decisions. This weakens global institutions and set dangerous precedents. At the same time, diplomacy continues. China have been negotiating a code of conduct for decades, but the process is slow. Trust is low. Every time negotiations inch forward, a new clash at sea pushes them 2 steps back. Military build-up and risk of conflict. Now talk about this. One of the most dangerous aspects of this dispute in militarization. Chinese Iceland vessels now host anti-aircraft weapons, missile systems, and advanced radar. The US respond with carrier strike groups. Vietnamese submarines patrol the waters. Philippines fishermen find themselves in the middle of Coast Guard standoffs. The small spark, a collision, a miscalculation, or an accident could accelerate into a major regional conflict. If war were to break out, it wouldn't just be about Iceland. It could draw in global powers and shake the entire world economies. The bigger picture, what's at stake? The question mark arises. The South China Sea is more than a maritime dispute. It represents the rise of China as a superpower, the struggle of smaller nations to defend sovereignty and unity of himself, the challenge to international law and institutions, The question of whether the first 21st century will be dominated by cooperation or conflict. It is in many ways a microcosm of the modern politics. The conclusion is this: the South China Sea looks calm from above, but beneath the surface it is boiling with ambitions, pride, and tensions. It is a story of historical colliding with modern geopolitics, of small islands and shaping the futures of global trade, and nations testing the boundaries of international law. The world watches closely because that we happen here will not stay here. The wave of South China Sea reach far beyond the South Asia. The ripple into the very heart of the global order. Now, thank you and subscribe the CLA and comment down your lovely comment.